We're back.
We're back. Ready for tomorrow.
It's pouring. We're late because of the weather. All right, I'm just going to throw it out there right now.
Crazy weather.
We are late because there's a torrential downpour.
Yeah.
Out in the city of San Antonio, so we're running late.
Did you get scared when you heard the thunderstorm warning? Did you got on the phone 2 days ago?
Yeah, I get scared all the time. I get those alerts on my phone.
Yeah, everybody's like, not again.
It's more ridiculous that everybody in every room you're in gets this alert and your phone goes buzzing crazy. Yeah. So you always want to look at it like, what is it? Is it, sometimes it's a silver alert, sometimes it's an amber alert.
And then you look at each other.
Then you look at each other. What car are you driving? What car are you driving? And then, but the weather is absolutely crazy. Tomorrow's election day.
Woo!
And of course, the rain is pouring just prior to election day. So we got to get after that.
We have a regular low turnout for voting, and then people get scared because of the rain. You were hearing the music.
Oh, by the way, a friend did tell me that when Salo posted his teaser video, that the music was a little rough. It was a little over the top. So I mentioned it to him, and he came back with this other upbeat tune. It made me feel like I was in the 80s again, watching an 80s movie, chilling out on Marbach Road. We've often talked about my time living in the far west side of San Antonio on Marbach Road, going to John Jay High School in the 80s, listening to, I don't know. You know what? Funny? You ever seen the movie Vision Quest?
No.
Oh my gosh. Last night I was watching a string of 80s movies, and this has nothing to do with politics, and I'm sorry. It's nothing to do with politics. But I'm going to talk to you more about politics. I'm going to talk to you about 80s movies. I watch them, and Anna gets upset at me every time because she's like, why am I watching this movie? I'm like, no, you have to watch this. Everything from Eddie Murphy to Vision Quest to all of the John...
Was Eddie Murphy on Vision Quest?
No, Eddie Murphy was for Beverly Hills Cop, 48 Hours, the classics, man. Yes. The classics, right? So yeah, I'm sorry. Breakfast Club and all these other movies that I've been re-streaming. But one is Vision Quest. It's about this wrestler. The dude's on a mission. You know who Matthew Modine is?
No.
Oh my goodness, man. He's an actor. So he plays this kid. He's on a wrestling match tournament, and he's trying to wrestle the best wrestler in the nation, and he ends up winning. But I was watching it last night because it popped up as I was going through 80s movies to watch, it popped up. So
back in the day when movies were about storyline.
Movies were great. Not
necessarily about effects, but anyway. Watching a good movie lately? Have you watched
that one? I watched it again last night. Oh, like an actual movie? Luke's here with me tonight. I'm going to bring him in here in a minute, but
Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat. No, we're 10 minutes into 15 minutes into Mortal Kombat. We're going to finish it off tonight, streaming on HBO Max. Yeah, you got to have some fun when you're in the middle of the campaign trail. So here we are, about to vote tomorrow.
How do you disconnect from campaign mode? What do you do?
Surprisingly, when people get on political campaigns, you run for office. So it's really tough. I mean, it takes everything you have. Like your whole life goes on hold. And you've got all of these things happening your whole life. You got bills, you've got your kids, you've got school, you've got work. And then you go and you decide to run for public office, and literally all that goes on hold for however long it is, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. If you're running for statewide office, it could be a year. If you're running for president, it's probably 2 years your life's on hold. And everything else around you goes kind of just on standby mode as everybody goes all in to try to help you win. And it's but for me, when I get into a political campaign, I go home, I tune it off pretty good. Yeah. Because you kind of have to. I've learned to do it. I've been a political consultant, so I've helped people run and win elections, and I've won an election myself. So, I know, and I've been in campaigns, how to turn it off. And when you walk in the door, leave it at the door.
Have you caught yourself getting after yourself like, stop it, Greg, let that go?
All the time, man. Most of the time when I'm watching people on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Hey, we want to thank everybody's logged on.
I'm sorry. I was about to make some Facebook Facebook keyboard hero jokes.
A drawing of you and Ron. It was
my
a nice
goodness,
drawing.
Me and Ron.
It was a nice drawing.
The one of us that was on The Current.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I put it?
Yeah, put it up there.
I think I have it here.
I actually look much younger.
I didn't know if it was you or
The Current drew it. Let's get some. Well, first off, we gotta say hello. Oh gosh, you're gonna put that one up there. Oh my gosh.
Is this one right? Is that you? Is that you?
Yes, that's supposed to be me and Ron.
I got this picture. Oh my goodness.
Jesus. Salo, come on, man.
Look at that. Wow. Anyway.
Your wife is logged on.
Hey, guys, share this video, please. We have a low voter turnout, right?
we
Normally in San Antonio.
It just pops up.
Tomorrow's the elections, and it's raining, and a lot of people haven't voted, and people normally don't vote. What if you and me took the challenge of saying, you know what, I'm going to provoke, like the Bible says, provoke others to good deeds. And
provoke them to good deeds.
Provoke them to good deeds, and voting is a good deed.
So real quick, here's some people. We're going to thank your wife, who obviously allows you to do all these things with me.
Yes.
Your wonderful wife, who's been
amazing.
I would say Edith and is my sister. I've never had. I've said that 100. I'm starting to say that now because Edith, your wife, is an amazing woman. And by the way, she's grandmaster level on trolling Facebook. I'm giving her mad props.
Who created that monster of trolling on Facebook?
Edith goes onto Facebook and her comments. See, you can be a Facebook troll and be just ugly. That's a troll.
Yeah.
Right. But when you're a grandmaster on Facebook, you go in and your sarcasm and your sheer wit.
Yeah.
Shame the other party in the conversation.
Have you seen Pablo Francisco, the comedian? Yeah. Okay. Edith's right there. Remember that scene where Pablo Francisco saying that a Mexican girlfriend will fight for you? He says, Saulo, hold my baby. She said, so now we have a baby.
Edith has accomplished grandmaster level.
Yeah.
Anna, my wife, is Anna, Lisa, and
they tag team.
Yeah, they tag team.
Yeah.
So Anna, my wife, Anna Lisa, Saulo's wife, Edith, have been friends for, I don't know, 25 years or something. I'm not trying to age them or show their date. Ageism. A lot of years.
25 years when they were 3 years old, they met.
They've been friends for a long time. So they both have become grandmaster levels on Facebook. Because people on Facebook, oh my gosh, I don't understand political campaigns and why people think they have to resort to crazy time on Facebook. I got a news flash for you. I don't engage most of the garbage on Facebook. I will from time to time because I think some things need to be kind of said. Once I'll say it and then I'll drop my bomb and then I'll walk out of the Facebook room. But people get on Facebook and they think that's how you win elections or you push your candidate by sitting on there like you're in a dark corner somewhere in your house and going for it. But in reality, what you're doing is you're just leaving a kind of a trail of information that people can track down whether you're, and most of you are completely wrong, by the way. But I'm always thankful to people who jump in. Obviously, Edith is one, my wife, Annalisa, Liz Montalvo.
Impressive, Liz Montalvo.
Liz Montalvo knows her business.
Have you met her in person?
Yeah. She knows her business, bro. She knows her business.
Impressive.
And I saw some names on here I want to thank too. Gus Prieto and Anna Prieto. I used to work with Anna years ago. Been super volunteers for us. Chelsea and Shelby on my team. Melinda has helped us. It's just Patty Guido. Right down the line, the people that jump in and help you out is just amazing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing when anybody volunteers to assist you on a campaign. So let's say hello to some people.
You know somebody posted yesterday or today about how passionate. He says, I get it. It's political season. We're very passionate. Be careful when we start over disrespecting people. That was awesome. That was awesome. Amazing post.
Yeah, we do tend to get, and it goes all ways. I mean, people get their passions elevated.
Yeah.
And they want to defend their candidate all the time, and it gets rough.
Yeah.
It can get ugly. So, Leonard, it's good to see you. Chris Santorelli, praying for a victory tomorrow. Lawrence.
Don says, those Latin American divas can tag team and slay those old guys at Brook Hollow. They know who I'm talking about. Wow.
Sylvia Dame, a good friend of my wife. Thank you for joining us. Amy, hello. Ernest, Mary, Lou Bonilla. Lou Bonilla and her husband are volunteering for us all week long out at Brook Hollow. What a blessing.
Michael Carranza, thank you for logging on. Michael, Amy, thank you. Thank you very much.
Don Bamonde, Matthew Modine, I love him. My decade. Yeah, Don, it's my decade too, so he's absolutely fantastic. Scott Dowdy's on there. Edith gets Saulo some movies to watch. No joke. Michael Carranza, thank you, sir. You're always out there pushing and preparing. I thank you. Jessica Wattis, Mary Fleming. Lots of great friends logging on tonight as we start to wrap this thing up. Carrie Hall, Sergio Leal, we were rooting for. Thank you, Sergio. Thank you. And I saw Mauro call. Please tell him I'm sorry. I was on another call, and then I came over here and haven't had a chance to call anybody back. Though, look, all our friends coming, kind of logging on, and we appreciate it. Ben Kelsey, how you doing? My mom and dad are on. Ernest Taylor, we appreciate you. Margaret Terrazas, thank you.
Mona Huizar says, we're keeping our fingers crossed for a big win. Ernest Taylor says, you just said Ernest. Thank you.
Ernest Taylor.
Craig Brockhouse, that's your brother,
That's my brother. Thanks, my brother. He's so everybody will be out tomorrow. So a couple key points. We get some useful information in for you tonight. Couple of key points. It's a long campaign. It's been 3 months. So all of us at the end of a campaign, I don't care what campaign you're on, whether you're one of the others in a council race or you're the mayor or you're challengers, it takes a lot out of you. And at the end of a campaign, you're kind of on this, everything is this crescendo to tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and then it drops immediately. And there's 83 or 84 people running for public office.
83 in San Antonio.
In all council races and in for the mayor. 83 total people, of which only 11 will win.
I don't want to sound disrespectful, but there's still how many running for mayor?
That's like 14 people running for mayor.
For mayor?
Yeah, 13 or 14, something like that.
Who didn't know that there's how many? 13?
13, I think.
Okay, you've heard of Ron running for mayor. You heard of
Everybody heard of me.
But he says that there's like 13 people, 14 people running for mayor. If you didn't know that, put it, I didn't know. Put it in the comments. I didn't know that 14 people were running for mayor.
And I'm curious too, because it's a little, we were starting to climb up and people logged on. So if you voted, just put voted. You don't need to, it's okay, you don't need to tell us who you voted for.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious because tomorrow, so just to give you some information, tomorrow polls are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We are anticipating rain throughout the day, but studies kind of show that rain doesn't affect turnout all that much. Yeah. But early vote usually accounts for about 60 to 65% of the total vote. It's getting higher. More people are voting early every election. So tomorrow we can see, or we should, statistically speaking, see somewhere between 25 and 30% of the vote come out. Now, to date, 100, and I'll just round it up because it's like 102.7, 103,000 people have voted. That is a city record.
I heard.
Yeah, that's a city record.
Yep.
Now, some interesting facts about those people. And of those 103,000, 13,000 are mail-in ballots. It's a pretty high number. It's 160% increase over 2019. 160% increase. Mail ballots are 13,000 people sent in their mail ballot. So that's an interesting number.
Barry.
Now, out of those, this is from how we're looking at the data. Out of those 103,000, about 25% are new voters.
New voters
who have not voted in a city election.
Awesome.
So you're talking 26,000 people. So all those numbers are what we're looking at, and we're just trying to gauge, hey, where are we? What does this look like? Do we have a shot? Is it a runoff? Are we going to get beat by 20? I mean, you're always looking at all these numbers because you kind of gauge who you've had a chance to connect and talk with over the campaign. Then you see the turnout patterns and how people are voting and where we're at. Are the areas that are voting, are they our areas?
Yep.
And then what are you feeling like at the poll sites? How many people have you mailed? How many people have you phone called? How many people have you text and robocalled? By the way, all the text and robocalls should end tomorrow. People are getting sick and tired of them. And then you just watch these
things. I enjoyed several of them. I got to say that.
Probably because you respond back with a colorful.
Yeah, and I talk and I have conversations. Even those people that sell you stuff, I start conversations because anyway.
Well, it's kind of you. It's kind of you.
Yeah. Oh, man. Grace said something amazing. Grace Rios Castillos, she says, "You're awesome, Brockhouse. I told my family and friends to vote for Brockhouse. You're awesome and always keeping it real." I love that, bro. I love that about you, that you'll talk to anybody. That's impressive that you will talk to anybody. Somebody made a comment about somebody else that's running, this lady that's running, that she was using your talking points.
Yeah.
And I got jealous.
I know. You can get jealous.
I'm like, girl. I'm like, girl.
I tell you, it happens over campaigns.
Yeah.
People tend to recognize other things that are being said that are good points.
Yeah.
And they tend to adopt your good points.
And she was saying some comments about Ron that you normally say, that he's got no energy. And I'm like,
well, here's the truth, too. And I'm just going to, so people understand how this stuff works. When you're running, there's 14 of us running, 13 against Ron Nirenberg or whatever, 12 of us against Ron Nirenberg. All the other candidates are attacking me. That's their thing, right? So I get it. It's politics. And what we should have been doing, and I encourage this to people all the time, we should be going after Ron Nirenberg. Look, we're running for mayor, my family and I, because we think the city's on the wrong track. We think we can do better. We never would have shut our city down. We would not be all these mandates and violations of personal freedom. We'd be pushing our job market, everything that's great about San Antonio. Those of us who feel that San Antonio's on the wrong track, we feel it in our hearts. We know it. We've lived here our entire lives, or we've just sold out. We love San Antonio. So we know something's tangibly wrong. Our crime is up. Murder's up 34%. We know all these facts. We feel it. So we're out to run and change the incumbent, right? We want to get rid of Ron Nirenberg. Due respect,
Change what's there.
We want Ron Nirenberg fired. And so you have to make a case to fire Ron Nirenberg. These other campaigns, and this is why people don't, oftentimes they get into races and they only end up getting 1% or 2% of the vote or 0.5, is because they don't recognize that the goal is to fire the mayor, to fire the incumbent.
Change what's there.
Not Greg Brockhouse.
Yeah.
But it's to fire Ron Nirenberg. So all these candidates, they're the ones running semblance of good campaigns or decent campaigns. They're training their fire on me. I just laugh at it for the most part. I think some of their comments are hilarious. But
Eddie Castro just logged on. Eddie, I haven't seen you in a long time. We need to go get some coffee, Eddie. God bless you. Thank you for logging on.
Wes Rogers.
Hey, and this is something that I fear, Greg. Sometimes we all get excited for people we love, and we get excited for moments, right? So this could happen again in this election. The people get excited. We're having a podcast. We had good 80s music. We're talking about movies. I love Greg. Yeah, and anyway... But I don't want to get excited and just provoke people to vote. We need to talk about the issues. All right. So something you said, for example, this is what you're going to tell your people to vote tomorrow. Vote. You want to be the jobs mayor.
Right.
How important and how much does it affect all of San Antonio when you have a mayor that wants to provoke jobs?
Man, what are you doing, man? You got this. Now you turned all of a sudden into a legitimate. You're like a debate question.
I'm going to ask Ron in a bit. No, I'm joking. I'm going to call him up. No,
we were talking about 80s music, and then all of a sudden you went completely.
No, because
all right, check this out.
Yeah.
So it's important you vote tomorrow.
Yeah.
Republicans, conservatives, they're not voting in the numbers they can vote in. Moderates and independents are voting a little bit higher. A lot of people with mail-in ballots. 13,000 is huge. Democrats are performing around the range they always do, slightly better, which is about 53% of the vote is Democrat. Republicans, you're somewhere around 38%. So, and then these independents really take up this other large portion. So you got to get out and vote. And the patterns have switched. Before I answer your jobs question, I want people to know how this works. In the old days, and this hopefully will motivate you to go vote. In the old days, Democrats took their time to vote and ended up voting on election day. Republicans always did the mail-in ballots, and they voted quick on early vote. But that has shifted over the years now. So now Republicans vote late. They vote on election day. And there's a lot of reasons why. There's ballot fraud issues, ballot integrity. They're concerned about mail-in ballots. So they no longer take advantage of mail-in ballots, not to the numbers they used to. So Republicans are voting later and on election day, and they're doing fewer mail-in ballots because they don't trust the process, because they have legitimate concerns about ballot integrity. So they want to vote in person and late. Democrats now are voting big and early. So they come in early in a campaign at the beginning of an election cycle and vote. So all these numbers. The problem is, though, when you wait late to vote, something could come up. You forget. It passes a storm tomorrow. Who knows what's happening. So I'd encourage all of you to get out and vote tomorrow, rain or shine. Grab your umbrella. I saw people in line that were in wheelchairs, carrying babies, pregnant women, 101-year-old woman. They're in the line to vote. If they can get there, you can get there tomorrow. By the way, it was also when it was raining last week. Bring your umbrella. Get out to any poll site in the city and vote. If we don't show up and turn out, it's going to be a problem. Now, the jobs mayor. Sorry, I had a hiccup right there. So, would you ask, the platform about being the jobs mayor? The path back, and I've told people this all the time, and I've said this from the beginning when we started running. The path back out of the pandemic. If you notice right now, we don't have people working. There's help wanted signs all over this city.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Because it's cheaper for people right now to stay home. That's not cheaper, excuse me. They keep more money. They make more money staying home through unemployment and other avenues. And that's going to run out soon. That's going to dry up. Right now it ends in September. It's not going to go on forever, $600 or $500 a week in unemployment insurance to every citizen who's not working. So that's going to dry up. So the path back, and being a jobs mayor, the way our world would be different is if people were working. I mean, all the jobs. We have a pretty decent unemployment rate in Texas anyways. That's just the blessing of Texas. And our leadership has really created a destination mentality for businesses to come to Texas. The problem is they always bypass San Antonio. They go to Austin, they go to the Valley, they're up in Houston, they're in Dallas. I mean, you name it. San Antonio tends to lose a lot of the job opportunities. So when you put a focus on jobs, the path back is people working. That's it.
It provokes a lot of things. That's what I was asking.
It provokes the money, the jobs, provokes income to your family. It gets you, if you're the more money you're making, you can get an extra 100 or 200 square foot in that apartment. You can buy a house. You can create a better life for yourself. You can buy better groceries. You could buy more groceries, not better groceries, but buy more groceries. You can keep your kids in nicer clothes. Every penny you have starts to go to the things that are important in your life. So the path back out of a pandemic has always been work. It's not been the mask.
Yeah.
It's work. It's opening up businesses and ensuring that people can have a life again. Now, are we respectful of people who still want to wear their masks and businesses who want to mandate it? Absolutely.
And trust them to take care of what they need to take care of to make it safe.
We've infringed on people's personal rights to an extent now where there are people, and I'm sorry, if you're pro-mask, I respect that 100%.
Me too.
Half the city is not.
Exactly.
That's just a fact right now.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, I would say a slight majority now, based on what we've seen in polling and other information. More people want to get back open, and they don't want to have the mandates on the mask, nor do they want to mandate on a vaccine.
You're against mask mandate.
Oh, I'm not a mask mandate, but we're not.
You're not a mask. You're against mask mandate.
Yes, I'm also against mandatory vaccines.
Mandatory vaccines. You're against that.
Yeah. No.
Why are you against vaccine mandate?
It's a personal choice. It's a personal health call for you and your family, and we should encourage it. I think, look, if you want to travel out of the country, you're going to have to get a vaccine. There's a lot of things that you're going to have to do if you want to have a vaccine. And those things are your personal choice.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to take, if my wife on a vacation overseas, if I'm going to take her overseas, we're going to have to be vaccinated. I mean, there are things you have to think about. They're not going to let you in countries. They're not going to let you in if you're not vaccinated.
But you don't want to mandate it.
I'm not going to mandate anybody to it. We're going to look at our family and our children, and we're going to make a choice on what's best for us.
I think some people get confused. For example, you're saying you're not against mask mandate, but if somebody wants to wear it, it's okay. What you're saying is that you want to make people understand that there's a freedom of saying wear it if you want to. Because if not, if you start mandating something like a mask or a vaccine, what's next?
Oh yeah, the thing is don't forget, a business also has the same right to mandate whatever the heck they want to mandate.
Of course.
If they want, if you own a cookie shop, or you own Jason's Deli or whatever it is, right? And you want to tell people to mask up when they come into your business, that's your prerogative.
Yeah.
People don't have to shop there. They don't have to eat there.
Yeah.
So we have to follow businesses and personal choice. Yeah. I think what had happened with the mask over the last year is that it became so highly politicized. Yeah. And it became fear factor leadership, right? We leadership by fear, that people started to take sides and it became politicized. So you started to see masks fall down along political lines, and then it fell down along really scare tactics.
Yeah.
Then you saw Judge Wolf and Ron Nuremberg on TV every day, and all these things about what you can't do split our city down the middle. And I'm sorry, again, I'll say it. If you're in favor of mandatory masks, I'm here to tell you, you're no longer in the majority of that. This city is split. I mean, it's coming back to life as we vaccinate more people. It's going to become less important, the mask. But we can't. I just don't see any way we ever should have mandated or legislated our way to people's personal rights and violations. It's a slippery slope.
Because I don't like the mask, right? I choose not to wear masks for whatever reasons. But I do like when I go to a restaurant and it's open and people are working and they're cleaning the tables and they're doing this. They're doing what they have to do to keep their patrons safe and comfortable. That is awesome, and I submit to that. You know what I mean?
You have to.
Yeah, you have to, of course. But that's awesome. Okay, we'll talk about jobs. How would you, as a mayor, make San Antonio attractive to big business coming to San Antonio?
Well, Texas itself as a whole has a great environment for businesses. Generally speaking, we have lower property taxes. Now, I know we're all pissed off about our property taxes. We'll get to this in a second. We're talking about commercial property taxation. Our cost of energy and utilities costs, water and power is generally cheaper than the rest of the nation. We have business-friendly environment laws and things like that across the state. Texas as a whole has really cultivated a destination mentality for jobs. Now, the problem is in San Antonio, we've done the exact opposite. So while Texas has its plan as a jobs destination, what San Antonio has done is really made laws and regulations that have made it tougher for businesses to be successful here. Whether it's tree ordinances or it's, I'll tell you this, we do have a great utility. I know people are upset about CPS Energy, and I don't blame them. What happened in the winter storm and all those failures, but the fact still remains, we have the lowest utility rates in the state, period. So our CPS Energy rates are the lowest of the top 20 cities in the nation. We have the lowest cost for CPS Energy, for electricity. Okay. We have the lowest cost. So those costs translate well. Our water is, we have difficulty with the Edwards Aquifer. Now we've piped in water on the Vista Ridge pipeline. So we've got this water access thing that's kind of been solved to an extent. It's very costly, But we do have access to water that's cheaper than other cities. We have better electricity costs. So all these things are they're attractive to businesses that want to come in. But the problem is the legislation and the laws and the rules we're putting on businesses to expand and hire back. And we have to be very careful with these things. For instance, $15 an hour minimum wage, paid sick leave, the things when we start interjecting social issues into our business development, like we did 2 years ago with Chick-fil-A, or we tell a political convention they can't come to San Antonio because we don't like a particular political party, right? So once we start layering in legislation and rules and we make it more costly, for instance, we make it incredibly costly to build a home in the city of San Antonio through rules and regulations and fees and fines. So the average cost of a house in San Antonio is $265,000. The average citizen can't afford that home. They can't get the loan for it. So we've done these, we've implemented these rules and laws because we think, what we need is a climate action plan. And that climate action plan is going to cost billions. Someone's going to have to pay for that. It's homeowners, it's taxpayers. And all these things are great. And I'll leave you with this on costs and why people want to come here. We want to do things like everybody loves the environment. I would love to have renewable energy sources, solar, wind, power, nuclear. We have nuclear. Sure, we want to invest in all of those and create a better environment for our kids, clean water, clean air. Absolutely. The problem comes when we have to figure out how to pay for it.
I'm going to think of that.
Once you have to pay for it, then you recognize, I'm going to lose those great rates on my energy bill. And by the way, I'm going to find out what it really means when I go turn on my light switch and does it come on because I wasn't prepared because we didn't spend the money somewhere else. So we have to promote San Antonio. We have to get out there and steal jobs. Rick Perry, about 20 years ago, put billboards up outside of big cities all across the country saying, come to San Antonio, come to Texas.
Genius.
And he was poaching jobs and employers.
That's amazing.
We got to think about that. We got to think about
fighting for your city.
We got to fight for San Antonio. We also got to think about our airport. There's a lot of things we have to do to build an environment.
Start promoting San Antonio as an aviation city. We got the technology and skills in San Antonio. All right, Greg. Prop B. Right? It's interesting that in social media, sometimes, some people, even ourselves sometimes, you're like, okay, this is what you believe. And then somebody injects a piece of information. And you're like, what? I didn't know? You're kidding me. And then their emotions change and they start fighting with that bit of information. Like, this is the new information. Is it real? I don't know. But I just heard it from somebody else. Misconceptions about Proposition B.
So Proposition B is the Fix SAPD petition to remove Chapter 174, which is in our city charter. It's collective bargaining for our police officers. Collective bargaining means that the police officer union as a whole, as a family, negotiates their pay and benefits contract as a union, as a family, as a unit. And all those items that are in that contract, everything from uniform allotments and costs to health care, to discipline, to pay raises, all of it's in this contract. It's like 500 pages long. It's huge. Now, what has happened is an activist group, Fix SAPD, supported by BLM and other organizations across the city, have decided to come in and collect a petition to put to a public vote to remove the police officer contract. They are saying, so a common misconception is, they are saying it is necessary to remove that, right, so that they can fix discipline issues in the city of San Antonio. Discipline meaning bad cops that get fired coming back on the job.
Got it.
And they say, so misconception one, they say 70% of bad officers who are fired are reinstated. Now, that's one fact they say. Or that's what they say is a fact. The other thing they like to say is, this is only discipline. They're only trying to fix discipline. They're not doing anything else. So let me clear up a couple of key points.
Wow,
Number one, on Prop B, the police officer contract vote is about the entire contract. It's not just about discipline.
Got it.
That's a major misconception. So you are not...
And they oversell this part.
Oh, they oversell it. Like, we only want to fix and get rid of bad cops. That's all we want to do.
Yeah.
So we need to throw out the entire police contract to affect the change in discipline. Now, so point one is, it's not just about discipline. It will remove the entire contract. And once it removes the entire contract, it eliminates everything. Pay, benefits, all of it are gone, and the police officers will have no contract on September 1st. Now, there are a lot of misconceptions and unknowns. frankly, if for some reason this did pass, I don't think it will. I think it's going to fail. But if it did pass, we have 500 plus retirement eligible officers right now that are 25 years plus.
How many?
500.
Wow.
We're going to see a mass exodus and retirement of police officers. They're not going to stick around for no police contract and a massive level of uncertainty. What you pay for is what you get, right? We have the best trained, paid, professional police department in the state, and I would argue in the nation. The contract they have helps build in a lot of different skills, training, hiring, human resources, benefits for the families. And to eliminate all that is to defund them. Now, I'm going to people say, oh, Greg, you're the liar now. It doesn't defund anything. All it does is fix discipline. That is a total and absolute lie. It is not just discipline. It is the entire police contract. So this is my argument why we should vote no. You should vote no because we can fix the discipline parts through the normal process of contract negotiation. Throwing out the entire contract is like saying, man, my air conditioner's busted in my house, so I'm just going to sell my house and move. It's a stupid argument, right? Just because one part of it is not working well or we have to fix it, doesn't mean we throw out and get rid of the entire house. Now, fact number 2 I want to tell you, we are talking about only 10 police officers reinstated by arbitration. Of the 70%, that's not true. It's a half truth. It's a quarter truth. In reality, only 10 police officers were reinstated by arbitration over 10 years. Oh, man. That's 0.02%. Those are the bad officers.
Yeah.
10 bad officers in 10 years. We can fire bad cops and still have collective bargaining. The activists, what they have done is they've put the whole farm on the line, and I think people wised up to it and understood it. But it's a tough battle, man. Yeah. And this will defund our police department. And they can get mad about it and say, oh, that's a lie. And I can look right back at them and say, you're lying about what this is actually about. You want to make it seem like it's nothing and it's just working on discipline? It's absolutely false. Now, the problem also is it's become a political campaign, man. So all you do is speak in sound bites. Like literally sit here talking about all this. Half people probably asleep. Yeah, we've lost people just talking about it, right?
Who finances all this people that we see?
Well, Fix SAPD is financed by West Coast billionaires and millionaires. They're financed by who knows? It could be George Soros. And that's no joke.
Because they got a lot of videos and presentations, and
they're not raising that money from San Antonio citizens. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have come from outside organizations.
That attitude is from San Antonio.
No, it's from California.
That's why I hate when people say, "Well, this is a racist nation." It sucks when you hear that because, yes, there are racist people, there are racist moments, and there are people that have that in their heart. But that's not our nation. So when you see something like this, those are not our cops. Yes, there are bad cops. And like you say, bad cops won, bad cops gone. But sometimes to think that everything's like that is kind of irresponsible. Well,
Yakini Wisdom. How are you, Yakini? She has a Urban Conservatives of America organization she's building. You got to look it up. I think her Facebook page is up and live. Look up Urban Conservatives of America. And San Antonio chapter. Yakini Wisdom is on here. Check her out. She's building a new organization. Wow. Kim Bradley, what about Prop A? Let me just answer this Prop A. Got it. So I voted against Prop A. Ultimately, I ended up voting against it. I do support bonds, though. We have to be very careful. The language, there's facts on Prop A that people just don't understand, and I don't have the time to get it. My bigger concern is Prop B. And because I don't want to lose our police department because our city's going to turn into the purge, right? Like we got to be very careful here and not lose our police officers. Prop A is this, and I want to be very clear with people because people are lying about Prop A. Number one lie, it's a blank check that anybody can spend anything they want. All this money is going to come to city council and they're going to run around with blank credit cards and start charging all over town. Okay, that is an absolute false lie. It's not even true. It's nowhere near true. Proposition A, right, is publicly voted debt. So bonds are placed every 5 years. We have a fantastic bond program in the city of San Antonio. Every 5 years, we pass these bonds with citizen voter approval only. And they go do big projects like major bridges, streets, tons of sidewalks. I mean, you name it, parks all across the city. We couldn't do these projects and build our city without bonds at a great interest rate with no tax increases. Those are the facts. Prop A is, and I want to dispel this immediately. Prop A is not a blank check. Anybody who tells you that is straight up misinformed, misleading, or lying. It is publicly voted on debt. So if someone says, I want to put a building or something, or I want to put a park on the corner of Broadway, on the corner of Babcock and 410, that's what would be on the item. So that it would go through a public vetting process on bond committees. People would vet it, they'd vote on it and make sure that project fit the need, and then it would go to a public vote. Once at a public vote, the citizens make the choice. And I'm okay with citizens making choices. If citizens get a vote, that's the best thing we can ask for. Once it's voted and approved, it can only be used. Lie 2. It could be used on anything and city council can transfer money. That is a total lie. Or misleading or misinformation. Pick your choice, depending on the person who's telling you. Once a bond program is voted on, it must be used for that specific use only. That is a legal criteria. To move money out of, I have never moved money out of a bond, ever. You can't do it as a city council person. You've been denied. The attorneys will tell you no. If it's not used for that project, it's folded back up and eliminated. You do not get to move dollars around. So 2 big lies on Prop A. Is a blank check, false, lie. That's a misinformed person or a political candidate that's out there lying about how this works. Lie 2, it's a blank check that can be used on anything at any time. Not true. It's voter specific. Final lie, I voted for Prop A. That's a total lie. I ended up voting against it. People can, do what they want, say what they want to say about it. They're using it for political gain. But that's the facts. And please make your own choice on it, though.
Yeah.
If I'm mayor and I have Prop A and the bonds are there and I have the right or chance to use bonds, I'm going to put together programs with the community. We're going to use it as sparingly as possible, and we're going to make sure the public votes on it because that's the law. I'm not afraid of it. I want to build our city. I don't want to raise taxes either to do it. Never going to happen. So we have to find other tools and financing to make it happen, to do big things in our city. And that's why I don't have any fear of Prop A.
Yeah.
I just think in this particular case, we need to be truthful in the facts because people are lying and scaring the crap out of people, and it's false. So,
hey, Greg, this is Michael. Been following you since day one. Thank you for running again. We are ready for change in SA. Greg, let me ask you a question. Do you feel weird that nowadays is like, if I accept Greg, we have to agree on everything?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that weird? I think we all do that, right? For example, I talked to somebody the other day and they were talking about different issues, right? And they were all in favor, but one of them was a little bit, they couldn't understand it. So they're like, yeah, I don't know. They're like, oh, wow. You know what I mean? Because we think that we have to agree on everything for us to say, okay, we're going to do this. So, oh my goodness. So we got to make a list in our mind of what's more important to us. George says bonds for social programs are a disaster. Oh, wow.
Well, that's going to, again, public approved debt. I mean, if the public votes for it and the majority of the city says yes, it is what it is.
Check out Maribel.
But I would tell you that it depends, right? We have to think about through the bond process, bond committees, we'll vet what goes in and out of these projects. And you, the citizen, have the final vote. You have to be okay with that. I voted no. Okay, I voted against myself. That doesn't mean we're not that. I think Prop A may very well pass. And if it passes, we have to be conservative with the debt and be very careful to use it on the right projects. Don't be afraid of these tools and instruments. We have to find ways to build our city back, and we don't want to raise your taxes to do it. So low interest bonds can be huge. Now, the thing you're talking about, people disagreeing. I don't know what has happened, but it's ridiculous. I'm on a couple of email chains and people are just arguing with themselves over who's more Republican than the other person, right? I'm sorry. It's asinine and it's childish.
And Republican and Democrat is not the same as it used to be, so it's even weirder when they argue that.
And I'm seeing on Democratic circles arguing who's more Democrat, who's more progressive, who's more liberal.
Yeah.
And the arguments against each other, these internal warfare that's happening on both sides, they're destroying each other, like saying things that are not relevant to the city of San Antonio. I received 5 phone calls today, people calling to ask me on certain positions. And they asked me, about border security. They asked me about immigration. Wow. They asked me about Agenda 21. They asked me about, all these things that I answer questions. I'll talk to anybody. But the problem is we're not focusing on the things that matter in San Antonio. and the back to basics issues that get people elected. So here's my challenge to those people that want to destroy each other and think you're not Republican enough, you're not liberal enough, you're not this, you're a rhino, you're fake, all these other things, and you go spewing all this hate on emails and all this other garbage. The problem for you is you're dividing your own political party, whichever side you're on. And you're never going to win. This I'll tell you about Democrats. Say what you want to say about Democrats.
They stick together.
They stick together in this particular case when it comes voting time, and they win all the races in San Antonio. So you can be pissed off all you want, Republicans. You're not winning. You're continually losing. So you're losing because you don't organize, coalesce, and get things done and talk the issues, the basics, right? You can talk about all these issues that divide, that are the issues of the day in Washington, D.C., and you can talk about Trump and all these other things. No one says you can't. But the problem starts when you've divided and eaten your own, and the Democrats are over there. Yeah, okay, they argue with themselves, and they're
at the end of the day.
But at the end of the day, they go vote. And they show up. And they push the button, and they're not over there destruction. So why? We only have really, on city council, there's one Republican. Uno. Clayton Perry. The other 10 seats? Nope. So one only needs to look at the scoreboard to see how Republicans are doing in San Antonio. They're getting destroyed because they're living in things. And this is why I come and I run a campaign and I talk about issues and I go into every room. You're mayor for everybody. So when you said, how come people get pissed off and they don't want to work with you, or they've got a problem because you talk to this group or that group, to those people that get mad, one person called me today and said, why do you talk to the LGBTQ community? I said, because I would be their mayor too.
Exactly.
Well, why do you talk to them though? What am I going to do? Put them on a bus and send them out of San Antonio? Don't be foolish.
Bro, okay, let me say this.
You're mayor for everybody.
Okay,
everybody has a seat at the table. I'm sorry it upsets me, man. Everybody has a seat.
It upsets you, for example. I know a lot of people out there sometimes, they want to write some stuff because they're all pissed and they have to stop themselves. I don't know if that's happened to you, but
happens to me all the time.
Okay, so the other day, somebody was making comments about you supporting Black Lives Matter. Bro, and I'm like...
two people called me today and asked me if I supported BLM.
Oh my goodness. And
I'm like, I'm the biggest cop supporter that there ever was.
But you're willing to talk to BLM to fix that.
I talked to them.
Yeah, we did.
Again.
I was in the podcast. I was producing it. And
this is so bad.
And they were making stupid comments. I'm like, these people are just, and I had to let it go.
This is so bad.
I had to turn it over to Jesus.
This is so bad. This one pisses me off so much.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Jesus, take the phone.
Take the phone.
Jesus, take my phone. Jesus.
Okay, please.
7.5 pound baby Jesus. Remember,
5
pound baby Jesus.
Baby Christmas
Listen.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this one upsets me so much. I'm glad you brought this up. Because look, if it's over tomorrow and I don't win and I go home, I mean, you don't have to be mayor to fix your city.
No.
All right, but if I do win or in a runoff, and by the grace of God, I get to still keep talking about the future of San Antonio trying to win a seat, I'm just going to bring the heat, man. And here's bringing the heat. Stop. Oh, emergency alert, flood. Here we go.
In effect for this area until 10:15.
Here's bringing the heat.
Dang.
Stop with your hate for groups who aren't like you.
Oh, wow.
Cut it out.
Yeah.
Yes. I sat down with Black Lives Matter. 2 people called me today, and they were actually kind about it. They weren't. Once I talked to them, there wasn't an ugly dialogue. It was actually just questions. But I talk to people who come at me as if I'm the devil because I sat down with the Black Lives Matter, and I say, "What do you want me to do? Put them on a bus and send them out of San Antonio?" I'd say that all the time. I'm like, would I not be their mayor too?
Exactly.
Are their concerns not valid to them? Is there truth in some things that we can find in all of our arguments? There's always a shred of something we can do better on. BLM wants to change police accountability. I want to fire bad cops. There's some commonality there. But at the end of the day, the greatest commonality we have is we're citizens of San Antonio. And if I'm an elected official, I represent them as much as I represent the other person who hates them and can't stand them living on their block. So Republicans, I'm going to challenge you, conservatives all across the board. I got to challenge you on this. Get outside your tent. And think about
your bubble.
Yes, your bubble. And think about the works that go on that convince people you can win or that you have the right answers. And the works are I care about jobs and I want your kids to be better. I don't want young men and women of color to be stuck in a jail system for the rest of their life. I want them to have jobs and workforce education and training. I want a better jail system. I want to fire those 10 bad cops and make sure they stay fired. I want to make sure that we have internet access across the entire city. I want to make sure we're telling the story of the Alamo and the defenders of the Alamo and the Battle of the Alamo. I want to make sure, I mean, we can go right down the list. Yeah. And all these things people use against each other as divisive tools. It upsets me like there's to no end. You are not in a Republican primary when you're running to win a city council seat.
Another one, for example.
So ridiculous.
A lot of times people don't understand there's a lot of nuances in every topic, right? So remember when somebody asked you about the kids or the families that they're putting at the Freeman Coliseum?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you talk about kids, these kids, immediately people are thinking of illegal immigration and the laws that they're breaking and stuff like that. And they can't separate that there's kids that need help, that need to be taken care of. Because why? In their mind, they're thinking, illegal immigration, and they're breaking the law or whatever. And the way you answered was amazing. I'm like, these are kids. It's not their fault what this world has become or why they're here or details. We need to take care of them. But we also need to be considerate and need to change immigration law. Or fix it.
Immigration law belongs to the federal government. Immigration law belongs to, in this case, President Joe Biden and the Congress. They pass the laws. It's not on us to determine which law we ignore or do or don't do.
Yeah.
Now, we got to advocate, right, for sealing a border and making sure we can stop this influx as best as possible of undocumented minors. We have to stop the influx. We're not going to be able to save all these children. The minute they landed in San Antonio, right, and there's reports coming out of abuse. There's reports coming out that they're getting released to traffickers and all these other. It's just crazy stories out there still to be investigated. So it's alleged. I don't have any results on the investigations, but these are children. Granted, some of them are 18. We're finding out other stories, so we have to continue to be mindful of that. But these are children. They come into our city. We will feed and clothe them. And if I'm the mayor, I would have done the exact same thing as, just because I'm sorry, I would have done that. I would have made sure they're taken care of, free of abuse, secure and safe, clothed and fed, and then found out, okay, are these legitimate asylum activities? Why are they here? How do we handle them, either getting them back home to their next destination? It's not the job of the San Antonio city government to house these people these young people for the rest of their lives. But I am sorry, nowhere would we leave these children on the streets? As a Catholic, I'll never allow that to happen. We should be doing all we can to seal the border and to protect. Now, the other thing that pisses me off is that we quickly spun up this Freeman Coliseum for the undocumented minors, which I support taking care of them. I've already been on the record about that. We fed them, we got them educated, all these tools. Meanwhile, 2,900 homeless American citizens sleep on the streets of San Antonio every night. Gone to the world. The city of San Antonio, Bear County, nobody talks about them.
Yeah.
I mean, we're spending money on homeless activities, but what about our own citizens who are struggling? What about homeless veterans? What about homeless women with children who are pregnant? What about the near homeless? So we can spend time taking care of undocumented minors. We should. It is a life goal. It is who we stand as a city of faith. If you're a person of faith, that calls you immediately to help. Drop your ego at the door. We can work on the immigration laws with the federal government and state, and we can do things like at the border that protect our citizens all day long. We will protect and take care of children. Who's protecting and saying, let's take that same energy and put it to our homeless community?
The same investment.
Nobody.
The same investment and energy.
Nobody from the government shows up with that energy to help the homeless community. And it's booming. The homeless community is growing out of control. You see what's happening in Austin, and it's happening here in San Antonio. So.
The immigration laws and border patrol were originally established to protect the border from German saboteurs in World War I. Man, immigration went off the rails when they got rid of the Bracero program in the mid-'80s. Dang.
Man, George
took us to school.
George took us to school right there.
Thank you, George. Kyle says, how can we not stop the federal government from housing illegal immigrants in our city?
Well, we can't. I don't, the problem is the county judge in this particular case is the first to step out. and offer the assistance. And the county judge is separate from the city of San Antonio. Freeman Coliseum is. So the county judge stepped in and accepted it. I think what we should have done is partnered and kept the facility secure. We should have utilized military bases, would probably been the better answer instead of public facilities. We should have utilized military bases, kept them safe and secure on Lackland, Randolph, all these other locations. And we should have kept them tight, secure, and then healthy and fed. And then made sure that we had all COVID protocols in place and the kids weren't getting abused. You go right down this. There's 9. Yeah. I think there's, I don't know how many cases. I don't even want to speculate. But we should have done all those things on federal installation, on military bases, and then found these follow-on destinations.
Frank Diaz,
it's very difficult.
You truly care about humanity in our city, says Frank. And also, Wolf couldn't wait to get the Freeman set up, but doesn't care about the veterans sleeping on the ground.
Absolutely.
By 410 and Marbach.
Absolutely. The homeless situation is out of control. And I just, my hope is that whoever gets elected and runs this city recognizes the homeless situation deserves the exact same intensity as the undocumented minor situation.
Yeah. Anyway, Geneva says, well said, we can't deny our own and should step up. I videoed a new individual camp today on Walters Street. Joel says, voted on Tuesday, Greg Brockhouse, Irina Rudolph, and no on Prop B.
No on Prop B. I like that no on Prop B. Keep it coming.
Yeah.
Well,
man.
Let's, what we got? Wrap-up time. We're about wrap-up time, right? Yeah, we're already 50 minutes in.
Let me show you this. I saw this today. Do you trust your local police department? Like, it was what? Let me see.
Oh, yeah, put that one up. Is it coming up?
Let me see if I can make it this is the, do you love? Okay.
I voted in this one.
You did?
Yep.
Check this out. Let me make it bigger. Do you trust your local police department? And it says 79% said yes.
Huge.
And that's how the city feels.
Yep.
It's crazy.
People love, look, don't buy into the alarmist mentality that we have a racist and broken police department. We don't. We have a fine police department, the finest in the nation. Great men and women that house that and keep us safe. Don't fall into the negativity of the world and what's happening in other cities. Is what happened in Minneapolis abhorrent, anti-American? Absolutely. What's happening in Portland and destruction there, Seattle, all these cities that are crumbling because their police forces absolutely need to be taken over by the federal government, their police departments, and retrained and reorganized. 100%. That's not San Antonio. And I got a real problem when our elected officials turn around and try to take the problems of other cities into our city and make them our own.
Yeah.
If my buddy, I always say this, if my buddy next door gets in a fight with his wife, I don't go home and start arguing with mine, right? Like, you, buddy, got in an argument with your wife, you're sleeping on the couch. Yeah, I'm not going to sleep on the couch in solidarity with you. Like, I'm going to go home and be extra nice. So we don't make stupid mistakes by taking other people's problems and making them our own. We have a great police department. They just need to get better what they're doing on discipline and make it a little easier playing field so we can fire bad cops. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
So tomorrow night.
Oh, shoot, you're quick.
Tomorrow.
So tomorrow night's our election night watch party. 6 o'clock, 5590 Summit Parkway at the Aligned Mortgage office. We're going to be partying no matter what. Look, this is a good time to wrap this up. I want to give you some words of wisdom and make sure people understand what to expect tomorrow. Tomorrow's like a culmination of a big day. Huge. And 72 people are going to lose tomorrow.
Wow. Perspective.
Yeah. 72 will lose or go into a runoff and ultimately lose. So at the end of the day, 72 people are not going to get there. And they would have poured their heart, their soul, their money, their time, their family resources into winning. So be respectful tomorrow. You learn a lot about people when things don't go their way, right? How they act when they lose. And being gracious in the moment. Be mindful of that when you're talking to all your candidates and everybody you support. And if you support Ron Nirenberg, you support Ron Nirenberg. If you support me, you support me. If you support, who cares? Anybody else, your person, and you've poured your heart and soul into helping them win. You vote for them. That's a very important gift. When you do that, remember that person's chances are is not going to win tomorrow. And they would have done a lot. So give them a pat on the back and say, hey, thank you for standing up and making the argument.
I agree.
People running for office helps there be better dialogue, better debate. I'm upset, sure, that I didn't get a chance to debate Ron Nirenberg about the future of San Antonio. He hid He tried to pretend like there was no race and that he deserved this job by acclamation because he's King Ron. So I couldn't do anything about that. So I just had to take my argument to the community and do the best I could. If it goes my way tomorrow, this I always say, and I've been saying it as clear as day. Who's that? My brother's commenting.
I love that. I love that. Your brother just put, I will pray for you, bro. I believe in you and your destiny. I'm so proud of you, and I'm thankful the Lord gave me an awesome older brother.
Yeah. So thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. My bro's going to be on a poll site tomorrow, too. My brother, Craig. You better be out there on time. No, I'm just kidding.
Who's older?
I'm older. I'm older, a couple years older.
So you have a right.
So check this out. Yeah, I have a right. I'm the older brother.
Yes.
So get out there tomorrow. Support whoever you want. Make your vote. By all means, tomorrow, vote. Go vote.
Encourage somebody to vote.
Encourage somebody to vote. We need more people voting. That gives the challengers a better shot to win and change the system. Fewer people that vote. And look, it's going to rain. Just be prepared. Bring your umbrella. Be ready to go. Take your family members, your grandparents if they can't drive. Be safe. Show up. You have 7 to 7. At 7 o'clock, the polls close. At about 7:15, they'll dump the early vote total, and we'll know at that point.
Oh, wow.
And if somebody's over 52% of the vote, it's over. It's over. I can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. I wish I knew, because generally speaking, the numbers are all over the place, man. They're wacky. And usually going into an election day, I have a pretty good feel about what's going to happen. Tomorrow, I have no idea. There's 25,000 new voters that have never voted. There's higher turnout in certain areas, and there's not. Republicans haven't come out and voted in mass yet. How many Democrats have? There's this whole analysis you look at. But tomorrow night, we're partying either way at 6 o'clock. We'll have some fun, some food, and everybody's invited. Show up. There's plenty of room and space.
Yes.
And we'll just have a good time. I tell this all the time. I tell people all this all the time. If you win, you're blessed. If you end up in a runoff, you're blessed. If you lose, there's blessing in that.
Yeah.
Because the next chapter of your life or door will open up, and you are better for the effort.
Yeah.
And His will be done. I keep trying to tell myself that going into tomorrow. If it's meant to be, then that's God's plan, then we'll get there. If not, that's God's plan too.
Yeah.
And it'll reveal itself. So that's how it goes, man. And so get out and vote.
His plan is perfect, even if we think he
Here,
didn't
Luke.
do it in a perfect way. Luke, come here, Luke.
Come on over here, buddy.
Hey, guys. Okay, guys, before we log
Anna's
off-
out preparing for tomorrow, so my wife's out shopping, buying soda. Come over here, buddy.
Hey, guys, let me challenge you.
Luke!
Oh, here, Luke, come here. Put in the comments, and not just if you're just as a comment. Put it if you're gonna do it. That you're gonna pray for Greg tonight before you go to bed. Please put it in the comments. I'll pray for Greg tonight before I go to bed, because tomorrow is election day.
This is Luke. This is the youngest Brockhouse. Luke Brockhouse. He's right there.
Yeah, it's over here.
There he is right there. He will be out with us all day tomorrow. It's a family effort all in. Luke was actually sitting over here listening to us pontificate about politics. He got out of school today, joined. We got haircuts, and then just to get ready for tomorrow, so we're looking sharp. Give me a fist bump. Boom. Pray for us. Pray for every candidate who's going.
Yeah.
We're going to do the best we can. And if it's meant to be, it'll happen.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, it's all good, man. I think that I'm thankful to everybody.
It shows that you love your city.
I love this work.
It shows that you love the
And
city.
if it's meant to be tomorrow, then we'll get there. And if it's not, you don't have to be mayor to fix your city.
Or love
you don't
it.
have to be
Show
the
love.
mayor to love your city or to do great things. You just have to care.
Yeah.
So I'll leave you with that. And Luke dumped out because he's done with the. You don't have to be mayor. You just have to care.
Yeah.
So if you care, you'll show up and do your best. And the things don't always go your way either. Like, it doesn't always go your way. And sometimes the race on certain days is terrible, and sometimes it's great. And that's a campaign. People's feelings are hurt every day. It's tough. It's difficult. It's divisive. So remember that. No matter who you are, I'll think of the other 82 people running, because they're going through the exact same emotion, which is at 7:05 tomorrow, the results are going to come out, and 73 of us, two of us, will not make it.
Yeah.
And it's tough because you care and you believe in it.
And bro,
I absolutely love
God
the
bless
work.
you, bro. Because when I think about cops, for instance, first responders and people like you, normally when there's problems, people run away from the problem or what happened. But cops, first responders and people like Greg run towards problems so they can bless us, so they can fix it and they can be part of the change. So today we bless our cops. We bless our first responders. We bless San Antonio. We bless everybody that's running, because those that want to be part of change, like our friend Greg, that is running towards something to be a blessing to you and to me. And for that, we thank him, and we pray for God to take over.
It's all good, man. So thank you to everybody. If you want to come out tomorrow night, we'll be at 5590 Summit Parkway.
Please be there.
We'll have some food. It's going to be easy eats, though, like pizza and stuff. We're not getting too out of control tomorrow night. But we'll have a good time. And if it's meant to be, it'll happen. Don't forget, we live in the greatest city in the nation. And some of us may not believe it because we're hurt and stung by where the city's going or the direction of it. And some of us may 100% believe it's the greatest city, and they love the direction of our city. I would just implore people to go vote and remember that the things that bring us together or define us are a lot greater than the things that divide us.
True.
And if we can get together and I'll be a mayor for all people. And if not, I'm going to go back to my family, and that's a tremendous, absolute win. To be able to close a chapter that I've pushed for 10 years in my city in politics, and I'll keep going. I'll keep helping. But it's a great opportunity to put it to bed. One way or the other, it's a blessing. So that's how we've learned over the loss in 2019. We've come back in 2021 with the free heart that, it's His will, and that's it.
We're closing off like with Robin says, God wins every time.
Get out and vote, rain or shine. Tomorrow's our time. Make it happen 7 to 7 anywhere in the city. We love you. We appreciate you. We will come back with a follow-on podcast after the campaign.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let's just recap and see what happens. We appreciate you. Tell everybody to get out and vote. It is time. We're thankful for you. And as always, get out and make it happen. The broadcast is out.